So as in the last video we have discussed about the sixth A group elements. So today we are going to discuss about the seventh A group elements. Alright, here we do have the seventh A group. So let me write here the topic what we'll be discussing about today. We'll be discussing about seventh A group elements. Seventh A group. And 7th A group is also known as halogen gases. Like 7th A group elements are also known as elements. They are also known as halogen gases. Also known as halogen gases. We'll be discussing about the halogen meaning as well. Halogen gases. Alright, so 7th A group elements are also known as halogen gases. So now what are halogen or what is the meaning of halogen? Let's check that first. So halogen is a Greek word. So let me write here down. Halogen is what? Halogen is a Greek word. It is a Greek word which is the combination of halo and gen. Wait, which is the combination of halo and gen. Halo and gen. Alright, halo is for salts, like halo means salts. Halo means salts, and gen means formation. Gen means formation. Alright, so what is the overall meaning of halogen? Overall meaning of halogen is salt former or salt formation. Alright, salt former or salt formation is the overall meaning of halogen gases or halogen. Alright, so today we are going to discuss about the 7th A group elements which are also known as halogen gases. So how many elements are involved in the 7th A group? There are 7 elements in the 7th A group. Alright, so here I am going to write it down. 7th A group elements or halogen gases. Elements. So there are 7 elements in the 7th A group. So let me write here down with white color. Alright. So the first element which is in the 7th A group is fluorine. 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 Alright. Second we do have chlorine. Chlorine. We'll be talking about the samples as well. Initially, we are going to write the elements of the 7th A group. Alright, fluorine, chlorine, then we have bromine. Bromine. After bromine, we have iodine. Iodine. Iodine, as you can see here. Then we have astatine. 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 And then the last we have tennessine. 6. Tennessine. Alright, so how many elements we do have in the 7th A group? We do have 6 elements in the 7th A group. So now let's talk about the symbols, how they are represented. All right. Wait, let me make here the arrows so that I can write their symbols. All right. As you can see here, fluorine is represented with capital F. So let me write here the symbols now. All right. So fluorine is represented with capital F. Then we have chlorine. Chlorine is represented with capital C and small l. So here we have capital C and small l. Then we have bromine. Bromine is represented with capital B and small r. So here is capital B and small r. Then we do have iodine. Iodine is represented with capital I. Then astatine, which is represented with capital A and small t. All right, capital A and small t. Then we have last tennessine, which is represented with capital T and small s. So these are the symbols of these 6 elements of the 7th A group or the halogen gases. All right, so now let's write their atomic numbers. Here I am making arrows so that I can write atomic numbers. Alright, so as you can see here, fluorine has the atomic number of 9. So let's write here down. This color is fine. 9. Then chlorine has 17. Bromine has 35. Iodine has 53, as you can see here, 53. Astatine has 85. And then last tennessine has 117. So these are the atomic numbers. Alright, now let's talk about their structure, like how many shells are present in the fluorine, chlorine, bromine, iodine, astatine and tennessine, and how many electrons are present in their outermost shell. As I told you, the elements which will be in the group, they'll have how many electrons in the valence shell. They'll have the number of electrons in the valence shell would be same as they are in the group. Alright, as we talked about that in yesterday's lecture as well, what I told you guys about that, like we were talking about 6th A group elements. So all 6th A group elements were having 6 electrons in their valence shell. So as we are discussing about today's 7th A group elements, so all 7th A group elements will have 7 electrons in their outermost shell or in their valence shell. So let's talk about their structure. So let me write here down. Let me give the heading first. We'll be going with the first 2 elements structure. Structure of first 2 elements of 7th A group. First 2 elements. Alright. So we would be going with the fluorine as well as we would be going with chlorine. So let me write here down. Fluorine as well as we would be going with chlorine. Chlorine. As we know that fluorine has atomic number of 9. Alright, and chlorine has atomic number of 17. So it means fluorine will have 9 electrons and chlorine will have 17 electrons. So let's talk about the structure, how many electrons are present in the first shell, second shell. Alright, first let's talk about the shells. How many shells would be there in the fluorine? As you can see here, fluorine is in the second group, second period. So as I told you in the last video as well, periods represents the shell. So as it is in the second period, fluorine is in the second period, so fluorine will have 2 shells in its structure. So fluorine is in second period, so it will have 2 shells. So this is the nucleus, this is the first shell, which is also known as K, and second shell is known as L, KL. Alright, since it is in the second period, so it will have 2 shells. So now this is the nucleus. As I told you, in the first shell we do have two electrons because we do have electronic configuration. Let me write that electronic configuration again here. So yes, I am going to write here the electronic configuration with this color. First has 2, then again 8, then again 8, then again 18, again 18, then we do have 32. This is what? This is electronic configuration. So in the first shell I have made 2 electrons. In the second shell we do have 8 electrons, but 9 minus 2 is what? It is 7. So now it will have 7 electrons in its outermost shell. 1 2 3 4 5 6 and 7. As you can see here, as I told you, since it belongs to the 7th group, so it will have 7 electrons in its outermost shell. It will have 7 electrons in its valence shell or outermost shell. Alright, so it will always gain 1 electron to complete its octet rule. So it will carry 7th A group elements will always have negative charge on them because they will gain 1 electron to complete their outermost shell. So they'll always have negative charge and they'll always be acceptor of the electrons. Alright, because they have 7 electrons in their outermost shell, so they have to complete it to in order to make themselves stable. So now let's talk about chlorine. So chlorine has 17 electrons. So let me make here the shells. How many shells will it have? All right, so as you can see here, chlorine belongs to the third period, so it will have 3 shells. So let me make here. This is nucleus, this is first shell, this is second shell, and this is the third shell. Sorry. Alright, so now let's make this electrons. Nucleus, first shell has always 2 electrons, so here we have 2 electrons. Then again second shell has 8 electrons, so 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. 2 plus 8 is what? 10, and 17 minus 10 is 7. So 7 electrons are left and they will be coming in this shell. 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So as you can see here, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7. So since it belongs to the 7th group, so it has 7 electrons in its outermost shell, in its valence shell or outermost shell. And since it belongs to the third period, so it has 3 shells. It will also gain 1 electron to complete its outermost shell in order to make itself stable. So it will always carry negative charge. Alright, so this was all for today, as we have discussed about the 7th A group elements, which were also known as halogen gases. In the next video, we would be going with the 8th A group elements, alright, which are also known as noble gases. So we'll be discussing those noble gases in the next video. This was all for today.